Hello there, welcome back to another Fort Triumph video with Ngini Titan, and this is the final part of the campaign game. So we're continuing on from where we left off in the previous video. We're just outside the enemy town, or the enemy occupied town, and the enemy have admitted another party. Now, I can afford to ignore this party, at least in the context of the game as it currently stands, because if I go in and I complete the final mission, I'm going to fight a battle here first. The reason I'm going to fight a battle here first is it just might gather me enough resources to buy something else. But the other party near the town, if I go back and fight the party that's come out, the enemy party that's come out, I might not get the opportunity to take the town. So, whereas anything I do over this end of the map is just going to be unaffected. So I'm going to take advantage of just doing stuff at this end of the map, and basically we'll just see how this battle turns out, see what I gain out of it, and then we look at doing the other end of the town. So we have, what is it, a bunch of brutes really so far. What we can see are brutes, and we have a fairly advanced party in the sense that we have the party is moderately leveled up, but we've also actually purchased some nice tricks from the town. Okay, we found some more. Now it's a much bigger enemy party, but we've some nice tricks in the town. So we have the most important ones we have is we have the grudge camp, so we get a retaliatory strike once a turn when we're hit, and we also have patience. I think we have patience. I'm not sure if we have patience yet. Patience will allow us to overwatch and brace for a single action point. We've also got tactics, which allows us to give us 4 action points this first turn, which gives you a very strong first turn, but you got to make the most of it. So it's a question now of how do I make the most of it? So what's the place that I can maneuver my so I'm going to take the 2 action points, and we get the kick. So he's blinded, so we get the there, and we get our retaliatory strike. He really screws up because he hits and gets himself attacked twice. It's actually rare enough you see the AI do that. So, the enemy are moving. There's a lot of them that can't, well, they've only got, there's a fair few of them stunned, and a lot of the ones that aren't stunned are kind of out of range. Which is just as well, that means that I don't take too much in the line of losses. The ranger has probably got hit the hardest. Well, the savage got fairly hard hit as well, but the thing is the ranger's down to 6, and a lot of the attacks will do 6 points of damage, so the ranger is in danger. More so than the brute. So we have an opportunity here to, well, I don't think we'll stun the peasant, because this is what will happen is you kick your man. We're going for the extra action point. We get 2. Well, we get one of them killed, and we have 2 action points left. So now I could charge, or I could attack. Kick. So I've chosen to attack. Leaves your man bleeding on 1 action point, which means at the start of his turn he'll take another hit and he'll be dead, so he won't react. So it'll be just 1 brute and one brute and 1 peasant down there to act. And that peasant is bleeding as well. Or that brute is bleeding as well. But he's got 2, so he will survive. So I think the savage is safe, because he's got 8 hit points, so he's going to survive any attacks that we made at him. So I bring him up here, and now we're going to use the lift to trigger the opportunity attack, so we get rid of him. So there's no danger of the ranger dying, which is the big one. And the Ranger has enough points left to make a retaliatory strike against that guy. Brute expires, Ranger gets hit again, but you know he can survive attack from a minion, and we just take out. And this is the Paladin's next door, so every time the Paladin gets hit, he's healing. And we have another minion taken out, and then we have just a couple of them left. And at this point the fight is trivial. Ranger just whacks one. And he still has an action, so I can actually put him into Overwatch or move him, depending. Take out the peasant, and he just attacks and kills the last brute. That's it. Game over. Wasn't, you know, anything spectacular. I didn't do anything really special there, or this was a C-class victory. Got a shuriken. Means I have 2 shurikens. And we just finish off the movement, and we switch now. We just sort of redeploy equipment. So I'm going to supply the shurikens to the party. This next going to be in action. Now, it won't be this party that will go into the fight. What will happen is that I'll have the best savage, the highest class savage will go into the fight, and the paladin from the other party will go into the fight. So I get a party with each of the characters in it, so that they represent the pre-written, the pre-scripted roles. And we can start another building with enough resources. We can actually put in the infirmary, but we won't gain the benefit of infirmary, so we won't have the extra hit points, despite the fact that we have built. I don't think there's anything more we can do here. We haven't got enough resources. We can buy shoes, but I've never seen shoes as really worth it. Now, I could attack the goblin party, but I wouldn't be sure if I had enough movement then to go back in and finish the town, and then there'd be another round. So I thought, because the thing is, once I complete the town mission, the game currently, as it currently stands, the game will end, and the goblin party won't be relevant. So this is the final story mission in the actual current game. So you have kind of 3 objectives. You have to find Gharabarack the Terrible. You have to keep Avathas Lionsmane alive. Except you won't. I've played through this multiple times before, and since you're watching this, you're going to get spoiled anyway. But Lord Avathas Lionsmane is going to be assassinated when it looks like you're succeeding. So you reach the point until you confront Gharabarack. You have the confrontational taunting with Gharabarack, and then a bunch of humans, a bunch of brutes arrive that are allegedly from Lady Aurelian. They're actually from Lady Aurelian. And they arrive up to Lord Lionsmane allegedly with a message from Lady Aurelian, and they kill him. And then they're hostile to you. So there's a lot to be said for sometimes having Lord Lionsmane at the front, so that they will appear between you and the goblins, because they're hostile to the goblins and the goblins are hostile to them. And they're both hostile to you. But that means that they can get rid of the odd goblin, or the goblin will get rid of one of them, as well as, you know, your own attacks, because you don't have enough on your plate without dealing with them. What you really don't want to is you want to be able to deal with one or the other, but not both at the same time. Or else, if you're dealing with both, then that you're doing it in such a way that the goblins and the human faction are coming in each other's way and killing each other as well, because it makes things easier for yourself. So here I'm going to make a lot of use of the one click, action point Overwatch mechanic, because there's quite a lot of movement. Initially, the first fight there isn't so much, but once we get going in this particular one, it can vary with the map, but the map tends to be long and narrow for these town final fights, and you get the enemies coming in a kind of a series of batches, so you can get rid of the initial force You will then have the opportunity to meet a secondary force, and then you finally have the final confrontation. So you have this kind of long, narrower map than a lot of the, say, the tactical maps when you encounter units in the world map. You get into a more rectangular square map, and it's more evenly in all dimensions. Whereas these tend to be narrower in their width and long, and then they just go on and on. So this one will come up here at the corner, and we'll actually turn the corner. So we have a mixture of undead and goblins. The undead and the goblins don't seem to attack each other, but I'm not 100% sure that they're the same faction. The undead used to be part of this scenario, so I think they're a foreshadowing of things to come along with the rising of the undead Steve in the Rescue the Savage mission. They're a foreshadowing of future story elements. And you're not sure how much Gharabarack knows about it or not, as the case may be. So the ability to brace using one action point is really, and Avathas is actually very powerful, especially if you already have Grudge Match, because he already has a retaliatory strike, which he gets to use every round. But if you have Grudge Match, he'll do it once, twice, and it's almost a certain kill every time he does it. Picking up the potions actually can be worthwhile if you're capable of doing it. And now we see we can get a few hits into your man, and then we can get around. And we still potentially have the action economy to actually do an attack when I get around him. So I'm going to spend gain an action point by spending slash and dash, and then I'm going to put myself into a position where I can attack that. Possibly overdid it there. This didn't work out the way I intended. I thought that by doing this, I thought it was really clever, and that I could kick him through the barrel, and the barrel would transmit through the fence, but the fence didn't. It stops the attack. I'm not used to these fences. They're a new feature. And now I have the same problem on the other side, because I have this guy behind the barrel who I need to stun if I can possibly manage it. Chances aren't great for any of the attacks. So, and we missed, as it turns out, after all of that. So let's see if the ranger can do anything. Now the ranger, he still has a 52% chance that that was really good, but he does actually manage to get the stun attack. Unfortunately, we also managed to stun around Paladin. I'd kind of forgotten that he was in the line of fire. So Avathas has managed to kill one of the undead around him, and now I'm faced with the choice of advancing or bracing. So I choose to brace. There's no reason to advance, as it might trigger another encounter, and we might as well try and finish this one off before we do. Now we've just Goblin Scout, Goblin Raider left. The Hunter continues to make progress, and we've got to go around and work out our options. We're going to use a shuriken on that guy. That will leave him. And that shuriken doesn't seem to cause bleeding, or maybe it's just that it used to be that the ranger or the paladin, what do you call it, the savage was causing bleeding in the past. Fire blast will get rid of that goblin, and we just move on. Move on. How far do we go? Go into Overwatch. So if the other goblin moves, there's a good chance that the wizard will get him. But we can also try for him with the paladin, although we have options. We have only one. Now we're going to move him further and Overwatch again. So I'm going to rely on the fact that I can just get rid of that guy, move him up double, because he's falling behind him, but he can still brace, and move this guy up. Go into the apartment. but risk triggering the next attack. Well, I can brace him anyway, so again, I have the one brace option, and this guy actually expired. He was bleeding. I wasn't sure there whether he had was bleeding or not. Right, we bring the savage up, and again we brace. We haven't triggered the second attack yet. Now, Overwatch. Go into the building, go to the window, and Overwatch. And that triggers the next encounter, which has Goblin Bombers and Goblin Shaman. Which is just as well that he didn't trigger that one, with the other one still going. Goblin Bombers are quite dangerous. And we're not in contact yet, so we're a bit away from the fight. And unable to sort of take offensive action just now. Now I have a reason why the healing potions, the Goblin Shaman comes into action, and he misses. Even though somebody, why doesn't he hit? He blows Lord Avathas Lionsmane back. This triggers an Overwatch. And he goes right past and doesn't sub-detonate, he actually throws it at the ranger. Because if they take out Avathas Lionsmane, they'll have completed the mission. Now, it wouldn't be that easy to do it because he's braced, so he's going to reduce the damage incoming by 50%, I think. So you do 4. The Goblin could do maybe 2. Yeah, I don't think they'd take him out this round. That's probably why the other action made more sense. Now, can I bring my Savage to bear? What's the best place to do it? This is where you're trying to work out your options. So I thought, right, we'll go with Slash and Dash. My priority is getting rid of the Golden Bombers. They're the most dangerous units, and they have the very nasty tendency to self-detonate, which they can do, which is extremely powerful if it's used well, because it not just causes like 8 damage, but it causes a push effect, which can result in a whole bunch of stunned heroes. Stunned heroes is real bad news, because generally you're outnumbered, so the enemy have more actions than you do. Although this single action point Overwatch and is Embrace is actually really powerful, and compensates quite a bit from the fact that you are outnumbered. Right, so we're down with 4. We're up against 4 currently, so that's pretty good. We have more actions, and we're generally going to be, should be able to get through this fight without too much damage. The real problem is when you're kind of seriously outnumbered and you're not in a position to stun a lot of the enemies, because they're not conveniently lined up, should we say, together. Well, that didn't work quite the way I thought it would. So I'm going to suffer a little bit because of that. And this guy has a free brace. I should take use of it. Now he's got an attack. It's just a question of working out what the optimum order is for these kind of things. So we have done our turn. Get our retaliatory strike in there, and that's going to leave that goblin in a pretty poor state. We had a stunned, we managed to opportunity attack here, and this guy's detonated beside Lord of Avathas, and well, I suppose Avathas was braced for it, so he's not too badly off. Damage wise, he took 4 points of damage, but given that he was pretty tough and he was in reasonably good shape before the end, it's not too bad, and we've managed to blow him up, and he blew the neighbour up as well. Which is why, if you can manage the Goblin Bombers right, you can actually inflict as much damage on the enemy team with them. They're kind of a double-edged sword. Now I can't touch that Shaman, he's on the wrong side of the building and I can't see him, so I don't have a line of sight on him. Even though theoretically he's within reach. We do double move there in an Overwatch because that's all we have the action points for. Then I'm going to heal this guy up because he was kind of low and don't want to lose anybody. And we also use the speed boost to get him up without spending extra action points so that we can get into a position where he can actually do some actual damage. Now, I don't know if we're going to get enough distance. Well, I just triggered the opportunity attack and that has managed to trigger, I think, get a hit. But we didn't get a stun out of it. However, the thing is the Goblin Shamans are range units, so if you get somebody into their zone of control, they can't make ranged attacks. They'll have to leave, and if they leave, they'll trigger opportunity attacks, which is another way of getting rid of them. It's one of the downsides of melee units. And now we've triggered the Gharabarack encounter. So it's the cutscene as kicks off. We have the conversation about his tastes in interior decorating, and then he decides to eliminate the villagers, and then here it comes. The gang arrive. And now our heroes are in trouble because they come up to Lord Lionsmane and they give him an urgent missive, and then bang. Urgent missive across the back of the skull. So the problem is that our heroes are now in trouble because they have been witness to this, and they're aware that there's a collaboration going on between Lady Aureline and Gharabarack the Terrible. They're in cahoots, even if the factions aren't going to be on the same side, so they have to fight their way out of this one in order to get clear of the immediate threat. And these guys just so nicely aligned. I mean, it doesn't happen very often anymore, but that was just asking for it. I don't know why I didn't do chain lightning there. That would have been just a perfect formation for chain lightning as well, because a guaranteed hit in front. Although that said, if the other one had pulled off, I'd have stunned the whole lot of them, and that would have made me pretty much in a pretty strong position. So we have, there's not a lot of utility in blinding guys that are stunned. You want blind guys that can potentially make attacks. So I finished up only blinding one person, but I could. I need to get rid of this shadow. He's still got 2 hit points left, which is a pain. So what did I do? I put him out there in front of me. Don't know why I begin. Not sure why I did that. Now see here, the savage is in the path of the thing, but he also gets 2 of the brutes. He doesn't target the brute, he actually targets the lead. Or he targets the lead brute rather than targeting the savage. So he's maximizing, he's damaging the savage as well, but he's really damaging the brutes. So the goblins are quite happy to kill anybody that's not a goblin, and the brutes then turn around and start killing goblins as well. I'm not sure whether, because I think if Lord Lionsmane was at the back of your formation, the brutes would appear at the back. In which case you would have kind of either choose to deal with the goblins and the brutes and kind of fend one off while you're dealing with the other faction. But that case they tend not to interact, and they don't attack each other that much, or at least they don't get within range of attacking each other. But if you have the brutes and the goblins where they're in reach of each other, the goblins tend to attack, be indiscriminate. Everybody's their enemy and they don't care, which is, I suppose, reasonable enough. So we have still quite a lot of enemies out there. Now we get rid of the brute. We have a Goblin Shaman in zone of control. So that Goblin Shaman wants to do anything, so to leave the zone of control, and my guy will trigger and then probably kill him. We're not, however, out of the woods yet, and so what's going to happen next? We've going to leave the wizard for the moment because I'm not too sure exactly what to do with her. What's the most effective way of dealing with this? Now, missed my lightning strike. Now, pull him into that. Got two of them stunned, which was not great. I was hoping to get a bit more action than that. So the savage is the one left to move. We've got 3 moves with the potential of having 4 moves. So we'll see how we do here. It's difficult to say, really. I'm gonna get the shaman stunned if I do this. Gives me a retreat option. I'll take the brace. And we've dropped the pillar on the goblin shaman, so now we've 3 stunned. Attack, counter attack. Bleeding with 2 hit points. He's gonna last 1 round anyway if this guy misses. Whirlwind at any kind of range tends to miss. Another indiscriminate, what do you call it, goblin bomb throw into the middle of mixed friends and foes. Goblin shaman comes from down below. And this guy goes into Overwatch because he's standing next to a paladin and he's not sure what to do. Now it's back around to our turn again. So we've managed to see to weather the storm pretty well. We can kick him across. Now I don't think it's going to affect they're on higher ground. It's not going to affect anybody besides the goblin. But he is dead and I have a shuriken attack. Now I screw up here. I don't know why I did that. Well, I think I just wasn't paying attention there at that stage. All I can say is it was probably late at night. I was a bit tired. That was rather pointless in many respects, and now I have no effective action. I can brace and I can go and hide somewhere. There's no real advantage in standing out in the open. Wizard to go next. Still have a whirlwind, so I can whirlwind that mushroom probably with 100% effectiveness at this range. That bounces the shaman, and actually the shaman dies, so the shaman blows up and kills the brute as well. So it's just the near side brute that's still alive. We have another goblin bomber somewhere. Oh, he's up there. Other side of the fence. We missed, I think we hit the fence, but we have a regular attack. And we're gonna make the regular attack. Yes. Okay, so let's get rid of the goblin bomber. I feel a lot better now. Without goblin bombers, we get rid of the shaman, but that's just something that just had to be done. Simply because the goblin shaman had to be got rid of before I could release the Solaris Iron Floss in order to do other things. But, you know, it was... I don't know if there's more development work to be done in Goblin Shaman. I know that there was... I know it was said at one point that there was supposed to be a buffing unit. Here's an example there now. The brute has turned around and just attacked the enemy, the goblins, rather than our guys. But at the moment, Goblin Shamans aren't the threat that you think they would be from the amount of hit points they have. The guys like the brutes are actually far more dangerous, because the brutes can stun you if nothing else. Now I have this guy lined up, waiting for somebody to bang him into the other guy. Now I don't know if the wizard can do it. We'd need to get her up. Well, that's one way of doing it. I suppose we get her right up. We just use the fire blast because my sort of big hitting options are gone. And that gets everybody. Takes out the brute as well. And since the fence is burning, the guy sitting beside it will keep burning as well. So now we've got the ranger into action, and again, we'll potentially get one of the goblin shamans stunned. I think just the angle of the building means no, they missed completely. Even the angle of the building didn't matter there. They didn't bounce off of anything at the side of the building. And finally, hammer time. That takes him out. We leave the burning guy take care of himself because he's got a turn or so. And it's just this guy in the building going for the savage, and that guy tries to walk away, takes an opportunity, drops a pillar on the paladin, but the paladin is tougher than that. Can take a building being dropped on him. And now it's back around to the savage again. So savage comes up. Kick. That guy still have a lot of hit points left. It'll take a while, so we electrocute him. We managed to actually get the hit in, and now we can see if we can pull around the area, but we have to get rid of this guy over here as well. Just a matter of seeing where to put the... I'm not happy with the locations. That's probably better. Just wasn't happy with the locations for the paladin or the ranger. And we've gotten rid of one of the goblin shamans. There's only one goblin shaman left. And he's both electrocuted and stunned. So he's not as big a threat at the moment. And finally, we've got a Solaris Iron Floss. Not going to reach combat range, but we can do a blinding attack. So, stunned, electrocuted, blinded, taking damage. And it's back around to my team, and we're just going to go with the wizard. I think here should be able to finish him off. And that's it. So now we get into the final cutscene, which sets up the next chapter, which is not available yet. So they're discussing their betrayal and the fact that they're now expendable, and that Lady Arweline will try and pin this on them. And she ruined good fight. So Avon is ahead of the game in terms of street smarts and exactly how things are going down here. And can recognise a patsy when he sees one, especially when he's the patsy. And there was a horde of goblins arriving in. So, off to go. Flee into the cave after Gharabarack the Terrible. And this will probably trigger off the next chapter, so they'll be trying to bunch their way through Gharabarack's bodyguards before the horde of goblins arrive. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like, comment, share. It really helps the channel out. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.